What are your personal Hennessy memories from your jockey days?
Mine easy, really, because when I won the Hennessy in 2005, it was quite it felt like a long road back for me because I'd broken my neck, unsure as to whether I was going to be able to get back in time. I actually only came back riding the week of the race, and in the back of my mind I was worried that they were going to say to me, look, you're not fit to ride in a big race like the Hennessy on a horse that is strongly fancied as Trabolgan is. And I think it's only really down to Nicky Henderson that I actually was allowed to ride the horse, because he's a decent human being, Nicky, and I think he really wanted me to ride him. And a lot of other trainers would have said, look mate, you're not fit. And the truth of it was, in the grand scheme of things, I probably wasn't as match fit as I should have been,
right,
or could have been, because I didn't have time to come back and ride in any other races. But luckily, he stuck by me, and the rest is history. The great thing for me is Hennessy's and Newbury is my local track.
Right.
So
okay.
I live 15 minutes away. I know what the Hennessy means to Lambourne people, and I always wanted to win the race. So, thankfully it's one that I've got on my CV.
What sets Nicky Henderson apart?
He's a gentleman. He really is. He's a decent human being, and I think that's the fundamental requirement for any person, really. And I've worked with Nicky for a long time. I was always honest with him, and I think that showed. I could say things to him that maybe somebody else couldn't, and he would say things to me that he probably wouldn't say to other people. And I was always honest with him when I rode for him. More often than not, I'd come back in and say, I've given a horse a bad ride, and he'd say, oh, I think you're being harsh. But it was very much a relationship that was built on trust and honesty, and I loved working for him. It wasn't work. I did a job that I always wanted to do from when I was a little boy, and I lived my dream, and thankfully it was with somebody like him.
2016 obviously been a notable year for certain horses, but it has to be said the Injured Jockeys Fund has come to greater prominence this year and received lots and lots of donations because of, well, not least the sad death of JT McNamara and of course Freddie Tillicky's injury. I've heard you talk on the radio in the past about how you had to quit because you came close to... Was there an IGF when you were riding? Was there something similar? Or?
There was, and still is, and the IJF is something that anytime anybody ever gives money to the IJF, they can rest assured that it's going to a really good cause, because some of the stuff that they hand out money to, they're people who might never have had a ride but had a license for a while, somebody who worked in racing. They'll help people. It doesn't matter if you've not ridden a winner, you've only had 20 rides in your career. They are there to help.
Yeah, because it's not just the famous jockeys.
No, it's not.
It's
and that's the one that we all see is I feel desperately for Freddie Tillicky, because his career was very much on the up, and suddenly now he's hit a real tough time, and it's a tough time for him mentally and physically, because he's got to overcome something that will be a real challenge for him. But
you were a lucky boy. I mean,
I
was. It could have been you.
It could very easily have been me. I was less than millimetres away from actually being in the same position as John Thomas McNamara, Freddie Tillicky and plenty of others before him, purely because whether it's fate, whether it's an act of God, whether it's really good medical staff who didn't move me, and you never know which way it's going to fall. And for a minute I was lying at the back of the second fence at Aintree, not thinking about the Grand National. All I could think about was my two little boys, because I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't feel my legs, couldn't feel the bottom half of my body, because it didn't belong to me, and that was scary. I was bullied when I was a boy, and I fought back against the bullies, and from that day on I thought nobody is ever going to frighten me again. Doesn't matter what size they are, how big, how small, nothing. I'm not going to ever be afraid of anything, and I think that was one of the best things that I had in my armoury, is the fact that I was never afraid. But that day that moment, I was absolutely scared shitless. I lay at the back of that fence, I couldn't feel anything, and I was panicking. I really was. It was like being a little boy again, and I was scared, really scared. And you know, when I think about John Thomas McNamara,
Yes.
when I think about Freddie, it hurts, because for a moment I had a glimpse of what life would be like for them, and I was scared.
You seem very comfortable now. You enjoy it? Is it the next best thing? Or?
Yeah, I think it is. It's funny, really. I've been very lucky, and you know, Claire Balding is a master of her craft.
She taught you.
Yeah, and I think you can learn so much from watching people. And you know, Nick Luck, who has steered the ship at Channel 4 for some time now, you know, he is the ultimate professional. He's a brilliant broadcaster, flawless in his technique, flawless in his delivery, and you know, he's a good man to work with, and in some ways probably too good, because you know, that's, you know, he is faultless, and it's very, very difficult to find fault with him. The same can be said of Claire. You know, Claire is absolutely meticulous in her homework. If you see the book that she carries around with her, it's full of facts, full of little bits that she can use throughout the programme. You know, and you can only learn from people like that. I'm not saying that I'm in the same league as those two.
No, but you've got stuff in your head.
Yeah, but when you work with people like that, they actually eat the best out of you. You know, and I think that's probably when I do perform at my best. But the first year that I did it, I wasn't really enjoying it, because I thought, it's, compared to riding, it's shit. Basically. Because it is. When you ride a winner, you come back in, you punch the air, and it's glory. It's a glory moment. You walk into that winner's enclosure, they're all looking at you and looking at the horse you ride. Whereas when you're working on the TV, you're one of a team, but you don't get the same inner satisfaction as you do from riding a winner.
No,
because when you're starting off as a jockey, you're trying to be that man who walks in there, punching the air, giving it what for. When you achieve that moment, you enjoy it. But then when you realise that day is gone, you're always wondering what's going to replace that feeling that you got, that adrenaline rush. Nothing ever can replace that. Once you actually realise that and think, well, hold on a second, I've still got plenty to give to this sport. All I've got to do is lose the chip on my shoulder about the fact that I'm not a jockey anymore, and give a bit more back. Then I can enjoy it a lot more. And I did, and it was funny. People say, oh, is there defining moments? I walked back into my own house having wallowed almost in self-pity when Punjabi won the Champion Hurdle in 2009, because the Champion Hurdle is the one big race I've never won. And of course, the first year that I'm not riding, Nicky wins it with Punjabi, a horse that I'd won the 4-year-old Champion Hurdle on a Punchestown the previous spring. And I thought, that's when it really hit me that I'm not going to be a jockey anymore. I'm never going to have that chance to walk into the winner's enclosure on a big winner. It's gone, it's finished, it's over. And it hit me hard. And I can remember getting in the car and just sobbing like a child, because you realise then that it's finished. And I drove home, walked into my own house, and my little boy, Zach, he was only 18 months at the time, he was in one of those baby crawlers, and he came sprinting up the hallway to meet me, shouting. And do you know what I thought? It doesn't matter that I'm not going to ride anymore. It really doesn't. This is what matters. There's a lot more to life than riding racehorses. And my kids have been my saviour. They really have. I've got 3 lovely kids now. I've got a wife who I love. And, you know, life's good. And long may it last.
Indeed. And finally, your hopes for ITV, because we're here at the end of 2016, but by the time probably got this together, you'll be on air with ITV. I'm a little worried, I'll be honest with you, that if there is a future for, I hope there is, racing on terrestrial television. What do you think?
I hope that terrestrial TV holds on to racing for a long time to come, because there's an awful lot of people who've got involved in the sport purely because they've watched it on terrestrial TV, and they haven't had access to it in the past. They may not have had the access to ATR or Racing UK, but they've stumbled across it mid-afternoon when they've been bored watching TV at home, and they've suddenly realised what a great sport it is. we want more people to do that, to stumble across it almost by chance and get involved. You know, my parents have nothing to do with horse racing. You know, my mother she loves having a bet on a Saturday, and it's because of her that I'm in the position that I'm in. So somebody else's mum might get them involved and make them become a jockey and get as much out of it as I've got. And I want that to continue for a long time to come. I think racing sometimes doesn't realise how lucky it is to have terrestrial TV coverage. I think Channel 4 has done a fantastic job for the last 30 years. I was lucky enough to work for the BBC as well. But in a way I'm sad, because the team that we have here at Channel 4 is exactly that. It's a team. There's a great camaraderie between all the people that are part of this team. It'll be sad when it breaks up. And when I got the job with ITV, and it was then made public, in a way I was a little bit embarrassed, because there's an awful lot of people who haven't got a job.
Yeah.
And I almost felt guilty for them that they haven't and I have. But at the same time, I love my job. I love what I do, and I hope that continues.
There'll be a new team. There'll be new camaraderie.
Yeah, and the team that they've assembled now is a strong team. Like, I know Ed.
Yes, so do I.
Personally,
yes,
he's a lovely fella. He really is a top man. And you know what some people don't know is he loves his racing. It's his first love before football. So I think that will shine through with it.